once. So, as people get it, they'll realize that, they might as well do it right. So we think it's a self-cleaning system, and it's something which, from the UID, from our perspective, is a voluntary number. We're not forcing it on anybody. But if a registrar is using this number, then they can make it mandatory in their universe. For example, the ration card in a particular state may say that from now onwards, all your ration cards must have the UID, or the passport may say that. So that's how it will sort of propagate. It's also a win-win for registrars because it helps in reducing leakages. States spend thousands of crores of subsidies, and a lot of it gets diverted because of these ghosts and duplicates. So it will reduce the costs. It reduces verification costs. You don't have to verify the ID over and over again. We are trying to see how UID equal to KYC for a mobile phone and UID equal to KYC for a no-frills bank account. If we do these two things, then anybody who has a UID can either get a mobile phone or a no-frills bank account without further identity checks. So that reduces friction for business. We believe it helps in inclusive reach, because once we make sure everybody has UID, then the person with UID can go and ask for a BPL card, or you can go and ask for some kind of a micro loan or whatever, and therefore inclusion happens because we have the reach. And then of course for agencies that are in the tax collection business, it raises taxes. Because every PAN card has a UID, then that much more difficult not to pay your taxes. So it's got a lot of applications. So we think that this has a benefit for individuals and a benefit for our business partners. So this is typically how it is. We have the back-end system with the enrollment thing, and we have multiple registrars. So you go to a registrar and we provide the client software. We standardize the client software, so nobody can use their own client software. We are actually giving client software which is given to our enrolling agency. So that has all the, all the standards and quality standards and how to connect to the iris reader and all that stuff. And you collect the data and you send that to us. And then we'll do what is called as deduplication and reply to you. If it's a duplicate, we'll say back, pal, it's a duplicate. If it's not a duplicate, we'll give a number. Also, if you come in to get a duplicate number, it will be a penal offense. You can't go around saying, oh, I made a mistake, I'll get one more number. So, it's all that checks and balances are there. And then, it's all, state-of-the-art technology and all that stuff. We have multiple deduplication engines. So we're not relying on one vendor. We have built an API, which is essentially a biometric API, which is published on our website. And so we can have multiple biometric vendors, and we can mix and match, and we can replace biometric vendors so that we don't get locked into one supplier. So a lot of our focus is on building very, very open, interoperable architectures. And once the number is there, the customer can use it in any way that he wants. For example, the customer may have to do additional checks. For example, BPL card is check income level, passport is do police verification. So this additional verification we call as KYR plus or Know Your Resident plus. That's application specific. Similarly, we believe that you can have any token. You can have a smart card, dumb card, 2D barcode, whatever you want. So that's up to you. You can use a mobile phone as your card. We just provide the API. And we are encouraging people to have their own ID number. So that means you'll have a PAN number for a PAN card and use UID or Aadhaar as your deduplication mechanism. What we do is we create the ecosystem. We create a standardized ecosystem. That's what we do. We're creating an ecosystem. So ecosystem has standardized data feeds, we have standardized biometrics, standardized verification norms, standardized enrollment process, and standardized authentication. We build this thing. And we leave it to you to innovate on the edge of this ecosystem. So we are basically creating a platform with open APIs on the fringe. And we leave it to your innovation to build apps on the fringe of that. And we think there'll be some very interesting apps that will come out as people start innovating using this. And we also are helping our registrars in making the systems UID ready. Because they have to do many things. They have to centralize the database. They have to connect to our system. They have to maybe add the UID number to database. There are a number of things they have to do. So all that is part of the kit we do. We have a registrar onboarding kit, so that people who want to become registrars know what exactly, some of it is still evolving, but we hope, basically it's a standardized ecosystem where we define the rules, We act as the rule manager, and then we leave it to people to use this ecosystem. Now we think this will allow us to, identity is very important. It will allow better public services because you can reduce identification costs. We can provide direct benefits to the poor because now we have their IDs. We can reach out to the homeless and other groups. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, this is a national number which gives you mobility. An example of that is what we have done on micropayments. You know, there's a big challenge today in delivering micropayments to the poor. NREGA, for example, 65 million families are on NREGA. They all have either bank accounts or post office accounts. But actually getting the money to them is a very complex thing because there are no bank branches everywhere. So there we have worked with the Reserve Bank, we have talked to the mobile operators and come out with architecture where you can use something called a micro ATM, which uses the power of the mobile network but also uses the regulatory robustness of the banking system so that we can withdraw and deposit small amounts of money. And this is something which again we are testing right now and we think that this will be the approach for financial inclusion. We visualize a scenario where every village will have one or more micro ATM enabled BCs, and somebody gets his money into the account, he gets an SMS, he knows his money has come, he walks to the local BC and he can withdraw his cash, or it can be a cashless transaction, he can debit his account and credit to the shopkeeper's account exactly like how we use a debit card. So all that stuff is been architected, and we think that's really going to again have a disruptive influence on financial inclusion. Today, for example, this is what happens to an NREGA worker. He takes a 6 kilometer, this is a real incident. Huh? He takes a 6 kilometer walk to the bus stop, then he takes a 14 kilometer bus journey, he spends some 10-15 rupees on the bus ticket, he waits for 2 hours at the bank, sometimes the bank closes without using the money, he does this back. This is what we're subjecting the poor to in a village. He has to go 40 kilometers to get his money. What we have done is essentially taken a lot of concepts in the banking world, like no-frills account, business correspondent, mobile banking, central payment authority, ATM technology, cell phones, and come out with a new architecture where this guy will get an SMS that he's got his money, and then he can go to any PC on this grid. Exactly like you and I can go to any ATM and he can withdraw money from that person. It's completely interoperable network. But the difference is an ATM transaction today is a 3,000 rupee withdrawal. Here the withdrawal may be 50 rupees. So basically we are trying to do in the banking system what mobile folks have done, because they have taken the price of mobile time from 17 rupees in 1997 to what's the latest cost? Aaj kya hai? Huh? 29 paisa per minute and all that, whatever. So the thing is that we think that, so basically that's how same thing should happen in the micropayment business. So this incidentally, this whole strategy document is on our website, you can go and check it out. And we think this will allow, for example, subsidy payments. Today we are spending 100,000 crores on fertilizer subsidies, we are spending 40,000 crores on food subsidies, we are spending 50,000 crores on kerosene and LPG subsidies. The whole thing can be changed using UID because you can allow direct transfer to either the guy's bank account or to something called as his subsidy account. For example, for a person who is poor, I can have a kerosene account along with his UID, and then I just have to say in that account I've got 30 liters of kerosene, and then when he goes to a fair price shop and withdraws his buys kerosene, we just have to deduct from his kerosene account. So you can virtualize the whole thing as opposed to today's all stuff. So that's what we are proposing for many of these applications. Now, what's been happening so far? Actually we have been in business for less than 1 year. We have data standards on our website, biometric standards on our website, micro ATM standards on our website. Data center is up and running. We have a project management consultant, which is Ernst & Young. Our application development agency is Mindtree. A biometric solution is right now, tender is going on, and we will decide in the next few weeks. MSP tender should be out in the next few months. Our logistics partner is the Department of Posts. We just awarded a contract for the call center Intelinet, and we have a law ready for allowing us to operate under an act. The law will come to the public domain for discussion in the next couple of weeks. We have a device certificate agency being appointed. We have enrolling agencies. We had an enrolling agency conference that we had 300 people who wanted to be enrollers. So we're going to have an empaneled